I'm feeling good this morning. Welcome to another episode of the Halftime Podcast, the best sports coverage on all digital platforms. How you doing today, Coach?
Feeling great. You know, I never usually have any complaints going into these podcast sessions, so hopefully that continues to stay that way.
Yeah, you look rejuvenated. You look like you had a great weekend.
I had a great weekend. I actually got some rest last night, so yeah.
And then your AAU team, they won some medals. Them boys finally got some chains around their neck.
Finally, yeah. We went back to back this weekend, won both Saturday and Sunday. So that was pretty fun.
Shout out to the boys. They finally got it done. I know they were probably really happy. I couldn't be there. I wish I could have been, because it would have been nice to actually be there for the weekend where they actually dominate and do their goddamn thing. But I'm really glad and happy to hear that they were able to, see it all the way through, finish the job. Like Kobe would say, is the job finished? And they were able to get that done. So hopefully they can carry that momentum into next week. Hopefully I can make it next week. But, it'll be just my luck that when I show up, they get their ass beat or they don't finish the job and I'm not there to celebrate. But it is what it is. But other than that, everything else was smooth.
Yeah, smooth as it could be, man.
All right, Coach, what episode is this?
This is episode 42.
42. I just want to tell everybody that there is a potential plan for us, every 10 episodes since we went into our midlife crisis at the age of 40. We probably will try to do a live show every 10. So that's possibly, episode 50, episode 60, episode 70. That's where you will get a chance to get a live episode from us, because I'm sure around those time periods, there'll be a lot more things popping up in sports, trades, and different things like that. So there's some momentum that'll be building up towards that time. Football will be coming back. Basketball will be right back in the swing of things. So there'll be a lot of things going on. So we want to try to find ways to make sure that at least on those days where we're recording, we'll have a chance to update you if anything just happens to pop through our phones. Sounds good, Coach?
It sounds good to me, man.
All right. You ready to get into our show, Coach?
Let's get right into it,
As
Coach.
always, you know how we start. It's the halftime give and go, and you know the rules, and the rules must apply. First off, it's on me. I want to talk about Jaden Daniels really fast. They have him ranked as the 5th best quarterback in the NFL coming up into the season, and I do believe that is a fair ranking. Not necessarily believing that I agree with it wholeheartedly. I think this is a little bit of unnecessary pressure that they're trying to mount. But then again, I am also the person that's been on Caleb Williams' ass, so maybe I can't be the one to say that this is unnecessary pressure. I will say, though, I'm looking forward to seeing what Jaden Daniels does in his sophomore season, and I know the Commanders fans are as well. Next, it's on me again, and we have Victor Oladipo. I'm going to be honest, I actually thought this dude was out of the league. And that's kind of like, I really thought like his career was done. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that he was still trying to mount a comeback and come back. But reports are saying that his workouts that he's been doing has been very impressive. And so I'm hoping, with that being said, I'm hoping that somebody finds space for him. I think a good place for him to go to come off the bench would be somewhere like Golden State, the Lakers, potentially even Houston. I think he needs to find some place where he doesn't necessarily have to come in and be a star, but he can just help out and assist. On you, Coach. New team in the WNBA, the Portland Fire. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously they first came into the WNBA in 2000, and then had a quick exit in 2002, just after 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're going to be back for the 25-26 season, and it's exciting. I'm excited to see how the league can handle it. I think it was a matter of time for the W to expand, and get some teams back into the mix, and just the brand's getting bigger, so it makes sense to have more teams now.
Yeah, so. Sorry.
No, yeah, and it's great for the city of Portland as well. They've only had one team to root for, so there we go. Now you got another one.
I was just going to say it just gives more chance for more girls that are coming out of college to get a chance to get into the W.
Exactly.
That's all I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, still staying on you, Coach. Flag football is coming to the LA Olympics in 2028. How do you feel about, a bunch of guys pulling flags?
Yeah, a bunch of guys pulling flags I'm not necessarily too enthused by, but you know what? It is a fun kind of upbeat, kind of more fast-paced brand of football.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the league actually voted on it in their owners' meetings that NFL players would be allowed to participate in these flag football games. So it makes sense. 2028, in LA, the stars are going to be bright, and it makes sense for the NFL guys to get a chance. But I heard some of the flag football guys aren't necessarily too fond of this voting. So we'll see how that works out.
It is what it is, Coach. It's all about the attention and the money. All right, stand on you, Coach. MLB All Star just passed. The lineups, the home run derby. How did you feel about the All Star MLB?
Yeah, man. It was fun to watch. Honestly, I had the fun. It was the best time watching the All Star game itself. For the first time ever, we got to a swing off kind of home run derby style. I can't talk today, geez, but Kyle Schwarber went 3 for 3 in his at bat, and it was just electric. All the players were having fun. The fans were enjoying themselves, and that's what it's about when we talk about All Star games. So it was definitely fun to watch.
Absolutely, MLB will definitely find its way back into the hearts of the American people on a global scale once again. All right. I want to talk about last on the halftime give and go. Lauri Markkanen. Lauri, I really want you out of Utah. I don't know how they need to make it happen. I don't know if you need to scream at your agent, but you need to get out of Utah. I don't think Utah is going to go anywhere soon. I know that they want you to be their franchise guy, but they have enough pieces out there that they can kind of facilitate and work around with. You deserve a chance to get to a franchise that's ready to win right now because your talents are very underserved in Utah. So I want you to find wherever it is that you can be useful and go, preferably Golden State with Steph Curry. All right, Coach, that has been the halftime give and go. Again, we want to remind everybody that we see you enjoying our content. We see that you're liking and commenting on everything that we have going on as far as our YouTube shorts on TikTok and on Instagram, but we just need you to click that bell. Please, please, please click that notification button on our YouTube so that way you can get alerted for all of our content and everything that we have coming up every week. All right, Coach. You ready to get into our game?
Well, let's play our game, Coach.
Let's play our game. Who's cooking and who should stay the out the kitchen? Number one on Who's Cooking. Let's talk about some of these Summer League boys. Let's talk about Devin Carter, the sophomore point guard for the Sacramento Kings. Right now, I believe the Sacramento Kings are 3-0 in Summer League. Hopefully, they get a chance to keep going that way, and it looks like they may even have a chance to participate in the Summer League Championship the way that their bracket has been set up. But I want to talk about how he's been playing very, very well. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be the point guard for the Sacramento Kings for their future. I don't think he necessarily has that, but I do believe he has the potential to be a great backup point guard for the Sacramento Kings going forward. I still think that they need to find either that young, spectacular point guard piece that they can put in the starting role or find that veteran that can, hold the tide until you find that guy in the draft that can be your starting point guard. But Devin Carter has been playing really well. I think he has a great chance of having a great sophomore season. Obviously, like I said, in that backup role, most likely to Dennis Schroeder. And I'm very excited and happy to see how he has improved, especially coming off the fact that his freshman year he got hurt and his shoulder, I think it was his shoulder, and he was down for a good amount of his rookie season. So it's good to see him balling. How about you? What is your thoughts on Devin Carter?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it definitely is nice to see him, seeing the work he's put in and it being actualized in the Summer League. Now, of course, we know that, Summer League and regular season, two completely different ball games. But
absolutely.
I do like the things I'm seeing from him. He seems very poised when he's just playing the game, and that's something you need come the actual regular season. So, this is a guy that Sacramento needs to kind of be able to bolster their point guard room because, they're in salary cap hell at the moment with all the contracts they're paying from Zach to DeMar to Keegan to DeMontis. You don't really have space, money, room to be paying a point guard. So after Schroeder, you need somebody, and I don't think they're necessarily believers in Keon Ellis like they were at one point. So
no, I think they feel like he can be a great off-ball guard like Malik Monk, but being a point guard, I don't think they think he has necessarily the skill set to orchestrate an offense and run a team.
And that's what they're hoping that Devin's going to be able to do for them come the season.
I believe that he'll be, like I said, a good backup. I don't necessarily see him being a great great starter. But I could be wrong. Maybe they project him as being that. I don't necessarily see that for his future, but I definitely see him being a great backup in the league for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, moving on to another young guy who is coming in on his rookie season, the first overall pick, Cooper Flagg for the Dallas Mavericks. I'll say he started off very slow. It started off the summer league a little disappointing. First game, he shot 5 for 21. He just was gunning. But that's kind of what you want to see from the first overall pick, is that he's aggressive. He's immune to missing shots. He's immune to not having things go his way and continue to play and continue to do the things, because that's what you're going to need from a number one overall pick. Somebody that's understanding that he's going to be scrutinized, criticized, and dissected for every little thing that he does. It's good to see that he has the mentality of, I don't let my mistakes get me out of the way. I don't care if I miss shots. I'm just going to keep hooping and keep balling. And eventually he got out of that slump and he had a massive game. I think the third game of Summer League, I think he dropped 31 points.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that Cooper Flagg knows his place in the pecking order of where he was drafted and who he's supposed to be coming into the league. So what are your thoughts about Cooper Flagg so far in summer?
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting the first couple of games for him to put up those type of shooting numbers, just looking at the history of the summer league. You see these guys, the top picks, they come in and they don't particularly shoot the ball well. Now, I think a concern for everybody, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, is maybe his 3-point shooting. It hasn't necessarily looked the best. So,
that was one of the things that I said I wasn't necessarily fond of, that I didn't think he could stretch the floor.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see how that eventually plays out in the season. But yeah, I mean, him still being able to come in, drop 31 points. I'm pretty sure they shut him down for the rest of the summer league now.
Yeah, that's what they have
I believe
said,
they've came out and said that. So, yeah, I mean, he was kind of just doing the things he's done at Duke. So nothing really surprised me. And that's what you expect out of a number one pick. I'm ready for this regular season to come by, man. And we still got a couple of months to wait. So,
yes,
I need that ASAP.
Yes. All right, let's move on to our favorite part of the game. All right. Who should stay the out the kitchen? And number one on who should stay out the kitchen, I don't want to say they should stay out the kitchen, but this is another one of those guys who just needs to get away from the stove. And I'll say that is our very own Chicago Bulls, Matas Buzelis. And the reason why I'm putting him up here is because I believe that Matas is in a situation where there is high expectations for him to come into the season and be, a star for the Chicago Bulls, to be a leader for the Chicago Bulls. And so far in Summer League, he has not shown that a lot of his game has matured. It still seems very similar to what it was last season. I was expecting to see a little bit more of a Matas that was patient, able to just dissect and pick his spots a little bit better. But it seems like, at least still what I'm seeing from Matas in the Summer League so far, is that he's still playing a little frantic, still playing a little fast. I don't know if it's him just trying to prove that he's been working, that he's trying to showcase that he can be that guy for the Chicago Bulls, and maybe that's what's pressing the issue. I know the last game that they played against Indiana, him and Noah both were able to get over 20 points for the first time. I think Matas had like 28, and Noah had 21. Mm-hmm. So there was, finally that breakout. And maybe it just could be a third game type of thing, as we talked about with Cooper. Maybe it just took some time for them to get, settled in. Maybe it took Matas some time to get settled in. So I'll look engaged going forward. But the first couple of games and some of those things that I was saying, I wasn't necessarily too impressed with what I was seeing. How about you? What are your thoughts on Matas so far in the Summer League?
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw his name on Stay Out the Kitchen, I'm like, why are we putting him on here? But after hearing your case, it makes sense. Games 1 and 2 necessarily weren't the most impressive. Yeah. Him coming out in that Indiana game, though, scoring 28 points, he did look a lot more calm, a lot more poised, kind of being able to get to his spots, just getting out on the break as well, which, I mean, the team in general was just able to do as well, which, of course, that's where his game flourishes. I wasn't necessarily too concerned when I saw the first 2 games, because I was also keeping in the back of my mind the same thing with, like, Coop and with all these other guys that are playing Summer League. Like, it just happens. You had a whole summer off, especially for the Bulls, getting eliminated back in April. Mm-hmm. You had this whole summer off. 3 months off from professional basketball is a lot of time, from actually just playing really 5-on-5 down court basketball against other NBA athletes. So I'm sure that's the reason why it took him a little bit to get settled in. I think we saw in the third game what he's truly capable of, and that excites me for next season. I'm gonna need to see more, especially I think with just creating his own shot.
Yeah.
But definitely some encouraging things we saw as well. We know he's got the athleticism and the ability to come back and get a block on the play, but I need to see that 3-point shot be more consistent.
Yeah, that and like you said, being able to create his own shot by himself, because there's going to be times where the offense is going to stagnate. There's going to be times where Josh can't just set him up. There's going to be times where defenses are reading the pin downs and the screens and the elevated screens that he's trying to come off of and anything like that. They're just going to shoot the gaps over it and sometimes just put him in a position where he's going to have to get the ball and do something with it on his own. Now, usually what he tries to do is just drive to the basket. I saw a few times where he tried to go off the dribble and he mishandled and got the ball stolen. So that also kind of concerns me too, is that his handle isn't as tight as I would like it to be. And if that's the type of game that he's going to try to have, then his handle needs to get better. Yeah. Like you can't go out there and play sexy and you can't dribble the ball.
Right.
You're gonna have to OG Anunoby it until you can get until you can get a handle. 3-and-D guy, and that's I'm not saying like that's a bad thing. I'm just saying if you're going out there with the hopes of being able to play a little sexier and do some moves and get the crowd really going like your handle has to be a lot tighter than what it is right now for Modest. I've seen him get stripped up too many times, and we'll see how that goes. But I think based upon this third game, and like you said, reevaluating it from Cooper's standpoint, 3 games in, obviously now it seems like maybe he's settled in. So from this point on, then it'll be really time to see if he's still playing. Because at one point they said Booz Ellis wasn't going to play anymore. Yeah, they did. They were shutting. They said before that they were shutting him down. I think after game 2, they said they were shutting him down. And then when he played against Indiana, I was like, I'm confused. But it could have been because they wanted him to get a good showing.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 wasn't so good. So maybe they might shut him down now. I'm not sure about Noah either. At one point it felt like he got hurt or something like that, but I think he played game 3, so I guess he's okay.
Yeah, not gonna lie. After that poster and that screenshot, man,
he might want to sit. He might want to sit too. All right. Season. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to another guy who I'm starting to get sick of and kind of just feels like he just needs to retire, and that is Paul George, aka Podcast P. And I'm just gonna say this about Paul George. Like, this year, you gotta have the greatest season in your career. He has to, because you're getting paid all this money. Your Clippers tenure was not the best as far as you being healthy, and you and Kawhi underachieving. You come to Philadelphia, a city that's starving for a basketball team to finally live up to what people think it can be with all the talent that's on the roster. You get to Philadelphia, they pay you, and you're pretty much out the entire season. Then you're podcasting and doing your own things, taking trips here, pissing off a lot of people who, again, pay a nice little penny to try to come see the 76ers play. This is a town and an arena in which they appreciate hard work, guys playing full out, going all out. This is a fan base that cheered on Allen Iverson, a guy that, just like Kobe, played through every injury and was 6'2" and going up there trying to dunk on giants and falling on the floor. Like, this is a city that requires you to give all of your effort and be 100% locked in. And if Paul George cannot do that this season and be the actual key piece that the Philadelphia 76ers thought they had, and getting him over there to pair next to Tyrese and Joel Embiid, I don't know if he finishes the season in Philadelphia. I don't know if he finishes the season there, and he might want to get out of there because it might be a little dangerous for him if he doesn't play the way that he should play. What's your thoughts on Podcast P?
Yeah, I mean, it's been disappointing ever since he got to Philly. It was disappointing in his last couple of seasons in LA. It's just been a letdown from him. You know, he was at one point kind of one of the more electrifying players of the league, and now he's really just kind of a guy that's just sitting around and is a name, and people know the name, and, you know, They buy the jersey because it's like, oh, it's Paul George, number 8, all this stuff, but he ain't done nothing. He ain't done nothing in a long time. I would argue he ain't done nothing since he was in OKC. And even then, it was some questionable times.
Yeah,
so,
he was next to Russ. Russ did a lot. They was a decent pair, but
right. He ain't done nothing since then. And I think that's a big concern, especially for Philly, considering you got a guy in Joel Embiid. You got Tyrese Maxey. Like, they got some pieces that would help them win now. And they were really banking on Paul George being that third and final piece that would finally allow them to have like a big 3 and let them make a playoff push and all these things. And it's just been quite the opposite. So I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised if come, February around, All-Star break time and trade deadline time that he's out of there, man. That he gets shipped off, and Lord knows what type of contract he'll get next, because I don't even know if he gets a big one.
Yeah, I don't know if he gets another big deal. He might retire after this season. But like I said, the NBA is a what have you done for me lately type of place. So if he does what he needs to do, if he helps Philadelphia get to the promised land and, they win a championship, then the whole narrative gets switched on him. It gets flipped just like that. So, all right, Coach, that's been our game of who's cooking and who should stay the fuck out the kitchen. We want to remind you guys to follow both Coach and I individually on our Instagram accounts for anything that you have as far as reaching out to us about AAU, reaching out to us about skill development and training for any of your athletes. Or if you just want to comment and talk to us about some of the shows and some of the things that you have heard from either one of us, and maybe you disagree, or maybe you want to just let us know like we really said something that you were definitely in 100% agreement with. All of those things are dope. So we would just like for you to reach out and just talk to us and follow us for anything that you need. And you can follow me at Coach M_got it, and you can follow Coach at his new handle at Coach KDZ. See, I fixed it this week.
There we go,
ladies and gentlemen. I fixed it this week. All right, again, follow Coach at Coach KDZ and follow me at Coach M_got it. All right, Coach, you ready to get into it?
Let's get right into it.
Let's get into the halftime report. Yeah. Favorite segments. Because we just get to kind of talk and just pod and just kind of do our thing. All right, but I don't know if I necessarily am going to be super duper excited about this first one, but we just kind of got to get this one out the way. Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. All right, dude. I never wanted you. Let's start there. let's just completely start there. I never wanted you in the first place, and this is like so bittersweet because there was a slight moment where after you were drafted and you started playing and you were really healthy and you were doing some things that I kind of went, okay, I kind of see what this can be. This can be a very like upgraded Luol Deng. Like this can be a really, really nice piece. And it just never materialized. And you're just laughing. Injury after injury. Just all these derailments, lack of development, not being capable of being aggressive enough to take advantage of opportunities when it's there, losing your defensive prowess. It's almost like you've completely regressed from literally every single just minimal light of what we thought you could materialize and be. It's like every single thing that you were showing, like, oh, okay, he can do that too. All right. It's like every single one of those things you've just regressed on. And I'm just sitting here going like, what in the hell is AK going to do with this commodity, this asset that you have given a fair amount of money to, that could potentially be the reason why a Josh Giddey and a Kobe White are in tougher negotiations, because you have to balance the books. And with this guy on the roster making the type of money he's making, you're looking at Kobe and Josh and thinking, well, if we got to keep this guy because nobody wants him, then we definitely are not going to be paying you two all of this money as if you're going to be the players that's going to lead us to championships or to a championship in the future, because this is the Adam Silver League. So it's not too many teams that's just going to be running off dynasties now. So with that being said, I'm hard pressed to believe that there's any team that truly wants Patrick Williams. I think there could be a team that could see him as a reclamation project and something that maybe the Bulls have just been incapable of developing, and maybe with their system, like maybe Miami could think they could do something with him. Maybe San Antonio, because when he was originally in the draft, San Antonio was looking at him as like obviously another Kawhi type archetype. Maybe San Antonio might see something in him. Maybe Golden State might be willing to get him, because that would be a nice wing guy that they can potentially develop and put behind Jimmy Butler and other players like that. I don't know. But his value is so bad that I don't think the Bulls can get anything that is of any worth in trading him. He would literally just be them saying, we made a bad decision. Can anybody please take us out of this bad decision? Can anybody please help us right our wrongs? And the potential trade that was just recently proposed, and it seems like both him and Kobe have been thrown to the same team for the same player, just different packages. But now they're saying P. Will for Kyle Kuzma and a second round pick or something like that could potentially be a deal that maybe gets done. So with all of that being said, what are your thoughts on Patrick Williams and what the Bulls should be trying to do with him? Because if they can't trade him, then I'm under the impression that if you can't trade him, you got to make him the focal point of the offense to get his value back up. So then maybe you can dump him. But what are your thoughts? Let me see what you got.
Yeah, I mean, I was also a guy that didn't really want him in the first place. I was laughing that whole like first part of your segment because I was just thinking about it like a toxic side piece. Like, didn't live up to his potential. I didn't want you in the first place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just it has been a real letdown, but also one that I'm not too surprised about. You know, like I wasn't necessarily excited for a guy that didn't start his college career, that came off the bench.
Yeah, at number 4.
Yeah, and we pick him at number 4. It was a shocker to a lot of people at that time. It shocked all Bulls fans. I think there were better players on the board that could have been taken, that should have been taken, but that's a conversation for another time. I know people aren't happy with the money that Patrick Williams is making. I think for his money, I don't think the money is the issue. I think it's the fact that the extension you gave him, like the years on his contract and how long he's going to be making that money. Like, to be fair, he's making like what, $20 million a year?
I think it's like 18 to 20 somewhere between.
To be honest,
and it's kind of it's almost a contract that I wish the Bulls can get giddy at.
Right. So that I'm saying, like, it's not even like a bad per year contract.
No.
It's just the matter of like you gave him 4 or I think it was like 5 years.
It's just bad that he's the one that has it.
Exactly. Right. And his play style and the things that we've been trying to get him to do just have not resulted in him doing anything of significance for the Bulls. Like, he was supposed to be this lockdown defender, a guy that could rebound the ball. The guy is like 6'9" and he averages about 2 rebounds a game. Like, he'll go games where he has 1 rebound and he's playing the power forward position. You know what I mean? Like, that can't happen. Like, you need a guy at the 4 position that could rebound, help Vooch out as well, you know, box his guy out and things of that nature, and it just hasn't been the case. And he's been trying to develop that 3-point shot a little bit more. It's been a little bit better, but that's not what we're looking for. We weren't looking for a spot-up guy, per se, that will just sit in the corner and occasionally back cut. Like, when we first brought him on, we were hoping we could give him the ball, let him play off the ball, right off the catch, and go from there. Which he was showing promise in the first year, honestly.
So that leads me to my question for you. Let's say we can't trade him. Let's say we can't do anything. Do you think that there is something untapped with Patrick? That, okay, Zach is gone, DeMar is gone, Caruso is gone. we don't have like a scoring point guard. We have a facilitating point guard. He doesn't have to play power forward anymore, so he doesn't have to worry about doing that because we got Modest who will probably slot at the stretch four now. P. Will can probably go to small forward, which is one of the things that I've been saying that he should have been playing the entire time, but we had DeMar. With that being said, though, now that he doesn't have to play the four, you got a facilitating point guard. Do you think that him and Kobe potentially can become that 1-2 wing combination that can be dangerous as scoring threats if you have Patrick Williams focusing just largely on doing that, going out there and getting buckets? Because there has been times where we've witnessed him being aggressive and just going to get buckets, and we like, yo, he might have it.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like his size, his strength, he just might actually have it, right? He might have it. And we just don't know it because Zach is here. DeMar is here. Kobe needs his shots. Vucevic is just still trying to be a big part of the offensive options and everything else. Like, now that this team is redesigned, and really the only veteran you still got left is Vucevic, and Josh Giddey is a playmaker, and Buzelis is still trying to find his way. It's really up to Kobe and P. Will to kind of be your wing scoring. Do you think that this is the year that maybe we all look at AK and go, all right, he's wiser than us all. He's actually Yoda, and we're just sitting here just foolish because he sees what we don't see, and we just have to let it. We have to be patient, as he say.
I think in order for that to happen, two things need to happen this offseason. I think Vucevic needs to get shipped because he's taking, I believe, a lot of the offensive touches that Patrick Williams is not getting. I think Vucevic needs to be out of here.
Really?
In order for Patrick Williams to flourish. Secondly, P. Will needs to come off the bench. If you start Modest and P. Will at the same time, who do you think they're going to prioritize to get those touches and create for himself off the dribble? Modest, Buzelis. You know what I mean? They're not going to rely.
I would say yes and no. The only reason why I would say no is because if you're still interested in the business of basketball, then you want to prioritize P. Will so you can get his value up and to find out whether or not he actually has what it takes, because you know what you got in Buzelis, and you got time before his contract is coming and all that other stuff. So you know what you got in Buzelis. You don't necessarily have to prioritize him. But with Patrick, there is a necessity to prioritize him, whether for value to trade or whether to validate why you got him in the first place. So I think there is a necessity for it. And I think bringing him off the bench would help potentially give him that space to ball out, but it doesn't help his value, because now if you try to trade him, what do you get for a 7th man, 8th man player? You know what I mean? Maybe he's 6th man.
I mean, the Cavaliers got Lonzo for a 7th, 8th man player.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. But like, you think we getting Jordan Clarkson for Patrick Williams? You know what I mean? Like, that would be the comparable to that, in my opinion. Like, the Cavaliers got Lonzo for Okoro. You think we getting Patrick Williams for Jordan Clarkson? I don't know. You think we get Malik Monk for Patrick Williams? I don't know. I don't know if that's able to get done with him coming off the bench. But if he's able to start and showcase what he can do in that position, and he's actually playing well, and he's actually going out there getting buckets, and is helping lead this young Chicago Bulls team to getting wins that we probably didn't think was going to happen this season, I think that's when you have his value at the sky. Because don't get it wrong, there are still teams that are quietly interested in this guy. They're just not biting on the negotiation because the Bulls have no leverage.
Right, absolutely no leverage in any of the deals that they're trying to make, to be honest. So, no, I mean, I'm with you on that. Like, I think, but I still stay true to my first statement. Like, I think
off the bench and Vucevic being gone.
Not necessarily off the bench. Like, I could see a world where he's starting and Modest is starting at the same time, and then being able to work. Go. I think Vuce has to go because Vuce does carry a lot of the offensive load. You know, he honestly becomes the facilitator at times, like at that 5
in the half court.
Yeah, and like honestly, you're better off having Jalen Smith or Zach Collins starting at that 5 role. Maybe they're not as great as Vooch, of course, but I mean, they don't need the ball in their hands as much. They're just more of a pick and roll threat. You know what I mean?
Or a pick and pop with Jalen.
Yeah, and Zach. Zach can step out. So, and that'd be perfect for P. Well. Like, I think that's the type of guy you need instead of having somebody sit on the low post. And, you know, of course, they've been trying to get Vooch to play more like a stretch 5 in the past couple of seasons, but we just see that that's not where he flourishes. You need to stick him on the low post. So,
okay.
There's still a world where Patrick Williams could become a solid starter. And I think for the contract that he's getting right now, then it looks a lot better. But right now, for what he's doing and the production he's having, it looks terrible at the moment. But I do see the promise in this contract if he is able to step into that starting role.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to something that is beloved and beloved by both of us. AAU. AAU basketball. It's something that me and Coach have been a part of. Coach is actively a part of it right now. I've had, my years of experience in AAU, took some time off, done some different things. But I love AAU, but I also question how much value it brings to the longevity of the players as far as their health and condition and managing their injuries. So a lot has been made about players in the NBA and a lot of the injuries that they have occurred, especially a lot of these a lot of the injuries that have occurred and a lot of the young players being the ones that has been a part of these injuries, from Jason Tatum and others alike, Zion Williamson, Halliburton, De'Aaron Fox, Ja Morant, like just a lot of these younger players who have been getting hurt a lot in their younger years of their careers in comparison to how it used to be for a lot of the younger players in the NBA and in the older times where they would have years and years and years before they had major injuries. They really wouldn't start getting hurt for real until they were like older players and veteran players. And a lot is being made about how AAU basketball culture is contributing to how these younger players are getting hurt. LaMelo Ball, I forgot to throw him in there. He's another one. About how AAU culture and AAU basketball is being a big contributor to how these young players are coming into the NBA just kind of fragile, because of so much knowledge and so much play that has been done from the ages of, let's say, 8 to 9, especially if they've really shown signs that they have great potential. So we're talking 8 all the way up through, high school, and obviously not in college, because that's when it ends. But you're talking from 8 to 18. That's 10 years, summers of traveling and playing basketball, tournaments every weekend. Some weekends you have 6 to 7, 8 games per weekend going on, and not to mention next week you're doing the same thing, and then practices throughout the course of the week. So for those players and those years of basketball knowledge being accumulated, as much as we appreciate AAU for allowing development, skill training, opportunities for guys to learn how to play this game the right way, getting good coaching, understanding true 5-on-5 basketball, filling out their bodies the right way, and learning how to play their particular roles that's best suited for them, because they've had an immense amount of practice in 5-on-5 play to understand, okay, I'm a good 3-and-D guy, or I'm a facilitator, or I can really get buckets. So a lot of these guys really get to learn and know themselves way before they get into the NBA. So I appreciate those dynamics of AAU. But do you think the amount of games and play and everything like that, do you think that has any bearing on the young players and how they have been getting hurt in the NBA early on in their careers?
Yeah, I think it has been. I do think there's a correlation to it. Just personally seeing now, being an AAU coach and having my own team, and also just studying the scene very much. Like you see these top rated kids in their classes, like they are playing 3 games every day on the weekend, and they're playing on Saturday and Sunday, and they're playing, it's an all-day affair. They'll play at 8 a.m. and then their last game will end up being at like 6 p.m. And there's no time for rest, recovery, because guess what, during the week they're in the gym, they're working. And I think this has to do a big part, a big reason why this I think has happened because of just AAU culture and what it is now. AAU doesn't hold the same weight that it once carried. It's
Yeah.
not as prowess. It's not looked at as the same, like polished product that it once was.
And it's not as one of those things where like if you was on an AAU club team, that meant that you had to be one of them ones.
No.
Like you had to be a part of that group.
That's just not the case
that's not
anymore,
the
and I
case,
think
yeah.
that's the problem because now, respectfully, my team isn't the best in the whole, country, nation, state, nothing like that. But on a lot of these teams, you do just see kids that are on the team because they paid money.
Yeah.
And I blame a lot of these AAU programs, a lot of these AAU coaches for making it this way because they're truly the problem for this whole culture because AAU has become so money driven and just so about building brand instead of actually caring about the kids and getting them opportunities to play 5-on-5 basketball and developing their skills. It ain't about that anymore.
No.
And it's frustrating to see, and I think that's also why it's led to a lot of injuries because we've seen the injuries happen, of course at the NBA level, but best believe it was happening during their AAU days too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily during their high school seasons, right? Actually in season, but it was in the summer when they're playing 3 games, especially nowadays against kids that are very below average and don't necessarily move at the pace that basketball is played at and aren't as athletic, so they play a little bit dirtier. There's some rough kids. Like there's some rough kids in AU, man, and it's not a great place, and that's why you see like these top-rated kids, they try to play for these bigger programs, but even these bigger programs are scheduling themselves into tournaments that
they shouldn't be in.
That they shouldn't be in whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
I think the thing about it is AAU needs to create like a separation. Like you have, and obviously IHSA, you got red, you got blue and stuff like that. Like you got the red division, the blue division and things of that nature. You need to do something like that with AAU where it says like, okay, we're all AAU, but this is AAU gold, this is AAU silver, this is AAU bronze. So that way you can make sure that the level of play is divided correctly, and then you get the clubs that have the players that know exactly how to do this game the right way. Those young players that know how to play, they can play amongst each other to try to help limit injuries and things like that, because they understand how to take care of each other a little bit better on the floor, like how not to be in guys' spaces when they're coming down from shots, how to kind of let guys, if they're on a fast break and you can't really get to them, not to undercut them and different things like that. You're right, because on the other levels, you got kids that's just basically tackling each other and all type of stuff and getting frustrated and pushing and shoving and doing all type of things that necessarily isn't true to what basketball is supposed to be. Now, get it, basketball is supposed to be physical. I'm not saying you're supposed to go out there and play soft, but there's just certain unwritten rules and just understandings about what you're supposed to do on the court to try to keep some form of team, some form of sportsmanship and camaraderie when it comes down to limiting injuries and stuff like that.
I'm also say this, along with those requirements that you're saying that should be, coaches should have to apply for those requirements as well. They should need certain certifications to be able to coach certain teams. Like, there ain't nothing now. Like you see just common dads coaching some of these AAU clubs.
Yeah,
and guess what? Some of those teams are doing just running full court press the whole game and fouling and playing very physical and playing dirty and. Where's the growth in the game? Where does a child get prepared for college and NBA basketball by sitting in a 2-3 defense or a 1-2-2 defense all game? You don't.
No, you don't.
You don't.
You don't.
You know what I mean? Like AAU at its core was first made so that kids could develop their skills outside of their actual high school basketball team seasons.
It was furthering the development of basketball IQ, basketball fundamentals, training techniques, and just understanding how to play the game.
And it ain't about that anymore.
It ain't. You're right. It's about money. It's about jerseys, gym shoes, and money.
Yep.
And
exactly.
how many, and then you validate you validate the money that's being spent on the jerseys and shoes and all of the things that look well by playing all these games.
Yeah.
And so the parents who are part of it go, well, my kid is playing 15, 20, 30 games, so I guess this, the money has been validated for a while. I spent all this money on this because
he's getting this shoe, and they
getting
got
that,
this type
they
of
got
jersey.
this, and they had this guy come to the gym and speak to kids and stuff like that. So
Fuck
yeah,
outta here.
yeah, it's it's definitely a lot of tomfoolery going on in AAU, but it is what it is. I think it's something that I wanted to address as a coach, and I'm glad that we got a chance to address it together. But let's move on, because still staying on coaches and the dynamics of coaches to players, let's talk about Jonathan Kuminga of the Golden State Warriors, who is still being benched, even in free agency.
Yeah.
As a restricted free agent.
Yeah, literally.
This man can't get no love at all. And I chose a picture of him being on the floor with his teammates picking him up, because that's what they really need to do right now. They need to go into the front office and say, what the fuck are y'all doing, man? Like, what are y'all doing? Like, do y'all not see what this kid brings to the table? Like, I don't know if there's like this, we want to teach him, how to be more humble or be more modest, or I don't know what it is, but it does seem like Steve Kerr has a thing against this kid. It's starting to feel like there is this festering and unsettling energy between Kuminga and Steve Kerr is taking it out on him via not giving him, not giving him time on the floor in games that matter, when it actually matters. Like, Kuminga should have been overutilized when Steph Curry went down, and they didn't. They were still playing him like he needed to have restricted minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are we doing here? The kid can just go out there and get you 24 by himself, because he's just aggressive. He can attack. He can get to the basket. Now, I know he doesn't necessarily play to the system, and I think maybe that's the issue. Maybe Steve Kerr is so upset with the fact that he won't take the time out to adjust his game to the Golden State system, and he's going out there just kind of playing rogue. But sometimes you got to find a way to implement those type of players when you have that type of talent on your roster. You as a coach have to decide and say and design, okay, when this guy gets into the game, let's readjust this system to make a little bit more sense for them. And then when he comes out, you retailer it back to the things that you were doing before. That's what a good coach would do. Now, I don't know if the other side of this is business for the Golden State Warriors, that they're doing this on purpose, suppressing his minutes, suppressing his time, so that his value doesn't get too inflated where they're forced to give him money and give him contracts. Because right now they have him in a controlled situation. You haven't played enough for any team to go out there and give you 90 million, 100 million, 110 million, whatever it is that you're looking for. So that means that you're pretty much at the mercy of whatever we feel you're valuable at, right? So that's a business play. That's negotiation. And if Steve Kerr is participant in that, if he is a participant in that, then that's some real NBA political coach bullshit. And that would really suck. But I guess at the end of the day, as a coach, you're still the organization's employee. And you have bosses, and you have people to answer to. So if that is a mandate, as I've said about many of things from NFL with Caleb Williams, and when we got into conversations about what was going on there, and I said the mandate is for him to throw the ball. That's why he's out there throwing it 51 times. And you're like, it makes no fucking sense to do that. I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. I'm looking at this the same way. Like, maybe there's a mandate. Maybe there is some type of vehicle in place where they're saying, look, suppress this guy so he's a control asset when it comes down to negotiations and money that can be spent on him. But this, to me, looks bad on Steve Kerr more than it looks anything towards Kuminga. This, to me, looks bad on the Golden State Warriors than it does anything with Jonathan Kuminga. And I really want them to figure this shit out. Either free this kid and let him go somewhere else and blossom, and stop trying to basically tell teams that they got to give you the sun, stars, and the moons if they want him, or just pay him what you know what he's actually worth to you, and stop bullshitting with him. What's your thoughts on this whole situation, though?
Yeah, I think if they're going to get a deal done, or whatever they're going to do with Kuminga, they really need to do it sooner rather than later, because it's already taken too long. We knew this was going to be a topic of conversation since the regular season, And yeah, dude, I'm with you. Like, I would not be shocked if Steve Kerr is honestly talking to the men upstairs and being like, "Yo, like, nah, like, let's not do this. Like, I don't want the kid. If we're gonna have him back, I want him on a minimum contract or just his qualifying tender contract offer, so that I could just let him ride the bench, and then he could leave when he's an unrestricted free agent. We don't have to worry about it anymore."
And they may not do that. They may like, the thing about it is, I don't know if they want him gone. I think they just want him at a certain pay.
Yeah, they just want him at a certain pay, and I have no idea what Kuminga's asking for.
Me neither.
Maybe he is asking for a lot, and maybe that's why Golden State is really kind of.
I don't think he could be asking what. I don't think he could be asking for what Giddey is asking for.
I think he could be. Because
you think he's really asking for? I mean, he hasn't played enough to even get that.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of just been the surrounding, like, just talk around town. Like, we know what this kid can be, and he knows his own value. Like,
and he does.
He's valued, and teams would love to have him at a certain deal offer. You know what I mean? Like, they don't feel like offering him the contract and then just having him swooped away because of restricted free agency.
That's what Golden State don't want to see. I think a team is willing to pay him. They're just not willing to give up the assets to Golden State just to get him on their team.
Exactly,
to pay him.
And that's my whole point.
Because that's what they'll end up. Whatever team is willing to sign him, all Golden State is going to do is match the contract and get a signing.
Yeah, if you want him, then we got to get somebody back. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole fear I think that other teams are having. So it sucks, man. Like, I like watching this kid play. I think he's gonna be a solid ball player if he goes anywhere else. You know what I mean? And he gets some bump.
Now let me ask you this: Vooch is making 20.
I'm doing the trade. Yes,
but hear me out though, because it may not just take Vooch. Vooch is doing 20. Patrick Williams is making 18 and 20. What if Kuminga is looking for something of $40 million a year?
See, and
would you do that? Would you trade Vooch and get off P. Will for Kuminga at that price point?
No, not at 40. And that's no way.
And that goes back to my thing of, like, suppressing his minutes and keeping him from playing only leaves everybody in a spectator view of just fantasizing about what he potentially could be. We're just sitting at potential because we haven't seen anything actualized. So because we haven't seen anything actualized, if I'm somebody that is fond of him and believes in it, I can't go to the president or go to the owner and say $40 million for this kid that we haven't seen really do it. Like, he's not Ja, he's not Zion, he's not Jason, he's not Jaylen Brown, he's not Tyrese Halliburton. We just feel he has it, though. We do feel like he has it in him, but without it being actualized, without it actually being fully seen for a good period of time,
you're taking a shot in the dark.
Yes, you are. But if I'm the Bulls, I'm not saying I would do it. So let me preface that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would do it, but if they did do it, I can see them being the team to take the shot in the dark to say, if we want to get off Patrick Williams, just to get his contract out of the way, and then we find somebody that's willing to take Vooch as well, and we can get in a young asset, right? Something that they keep talking about, a young assets. That's something that they're so interested in. That's why they traded Lonzo for Isaac Okoro of all players, because it's another young asset.
Right.
I can see potentially the Bulls being willing to do something like that. Now, that means you're not paying Kobe. Josh Giddey may or may not get his type of deal, or maybe you still are paying Kobe because now you move Patrick and Vooch, you still have that space. But then now does that become your three-headed monster, right? Now do you slot Kuminga in that small forward spot with Kobe and Giddey, and now you got a team of Josh, Kobe, Kuminga, Modest, and Jalen Smith or Zach Collins as your starter? Do you say then $40 million to Kuminga? Maybe he might be that star that we've been waiting on.
Yeah, it's a very expensive bet, is what it is.
Yes,
that's what it would be.
Yes.
So, is it worth it? I don't know.
But do you think he's a star? Do you think Kuminga can be a star?
I think he could be a star. Yes, I do believe he can be. You know what I mean? And maybe it is worth taking that shot in the dark, but it's gonna take a team that has balls, and the Chicago Bulls just frankly don't have balls. And We don't.
We don't, but if you're
A different team will, though. I think coming soon, I think we will see another team step up to the plate.
somebody's gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this.
We're gonna be like, whoa, why is he getting this contract? And then
maybe he goes there and explodes.
He gonna show us why. I think so.
I'm gonna say this. If a phone call comes to the Bulls' desk and I'm AK and Golden State is willing to take Vucevic and they're willing to take Patrick Williams off of our hands and his contract, but the gamble is giving Kuminga $40 million or $38 million or whatever it is a year for, let's say, 3 years. Maybe it's not even like 4 years,
Sure.
5 years.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we give him a 3-year deal where he makes that type of money and he gets the money that he wants, but we're not tied to him for a long time. And that last year is a team option. I don't know. I might be tempted. If I'm AK, I might be tempted.
Yeah, it's hard, and it might be a deal that eventually gets you fired. But I mean, at this point, AK might need to start making those type of moves because him being so conservative is also losing him his job, I believe. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like I had something else that I wanted to add to that, but I can't remember. Either way, it's okay.
That's all right.
I'll circle back around.
We'll get it next time.
We'll probably get it on the Patreon or something.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this has been another episode of the Halftime Podcast. Again, the best sports coverage on all digital platforms. What episode is this, Coach?
Episode 42.
Episode 42. Again, I want to remind everybody that we're going to try, like I said, we started off on our 40th episode. Woo, 40 years of doing this probably would be nice and old grizzly men. But our 40th episode, we decided to go live, and we're probably going to try to push for every 10 episodes from this point on. We'll do a live edition special of the halftime. So we just want to remind you guys of that. We also want to remind you again to click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're hitting that notification button so that way you are aware of everything that we're doing from all of our shorts and any other content that we're posting on YouTube. Plus, we just love the support. We also want to remind you guys to reach out to me or Coach if you want to talk about AAU, if you want to talk about any of our sports takes or anything that we've had, or if you got questions about skill training and development for any of your young children via girls or boys, it doesn't matter. You can reach out to me at Coach M_Got It, or you can reach out to Coach at Coach KDZ. Again, for me, it's Coach M_Got It, and for Coach Conrad, it's Coach KDZ. And then we also want to remind everybody to reach out to us for any artwork that you want to put on our wall. You know, we definitely want to still be able to shout out any dope artists, painters, or anybody that takes some good photos from any sports events or anything. We would love to put it on the wall behind us as part of our set and shout you out. We will also be introducing a new segment where we talk about some of you, or we respond rather to some of your halftime quotables. Basically, all of the comments that we get, me and Coach are just going to sift through them from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube and just kind of find the most unique comments that we got, and we're going to give ourselves a chance to respond to you uniquely on the show. So that'll be something that we want you guys, anybody that's listening, to take advantage of. Please leave your comments. Let us know what you think so that way we can shout you out if you really got a dope comment or something that can really spark a really good conversation on the show. So again, this has been another episode of the Halftime Podcast. This is episode 42. And as always, you know how we leave out. It's C Red and bear down, baby.